Rachel, how would you describe the mindset going into a game where knowing if you win, it would stop you and your teammates having any chance of going to the Olympics?
I didn't think you were going to ask me that question. In all honesty, I think I've seen a lot about that. I think a lot of people outside have spoken about it, and truthfully, I think it's so disrespectful. To have played for my country for as many years as I have, to know the girls that sit in there, to know the ones who want to be here, who are injured and can't be here, I think it's absolutely outrageous to question anyone's integrity, and I think it's a huge insult to us. And
it's a strange scenario though, isn't it, just the way it's come around? Is it something that goes without saying and the players don't even mention it? It's not something that's been spoken about?
No.
What do you think of the challenge of the game itself, the rivalry, as you say, the fact that not only every international means a lot to you, but this one in particular, I'm sure?
Yeah, I think it's a game that is one that we absolutely look forward to. I think the position we're in the group is difficult because it's not where we want to be, but at the same time we have the opportunity to finish the year against a team that's one of the best, but also one that I think in the history of our country and the sport is a huge rivalry, and to get the chance to play them here at Hampden Park is one that I know that everyone is definitely relishing.
What do you take from the game in England in terms of the result not going your way, but perhaps positives that you could look to take into this one?
I think that's been the nature of all the games, to be honest. I've said this before, but apart from the Netherlands game away, I felt in each one of the games there's been a lot of positives. It's a really tough group, which we knew, it's a group we wanted to be in. But I think a lot of the players feel confident. Obviously, I think the second half, particularly last time round, we felt good, but also tomorrow will be a different game. The different personnel for both teams are involved this time around, and I think we've all played more games now. We've all seen a little more of each other, and it's always different the first game in the group compared to the last game. So, it's a fresh challenge.
What would it mean to you to captain Scotland to a win against England at Hampden?
It would be amazing. I've captained Scotland to win against England before, but it wasn't at Hampden. So, I think, certainly my journey, the fact that the national team plays here is an incredible honour. It's a stadium that I grew up, supporting and being in the stands, and just knowing that this is the pride of Scotland when it comes to football. So the fact that we are here means so much, and I believe that there's going to be a big turnout as well, and that's something that the players want to make sure, we put on a performance that does that justice.
It's a big part of getting a result, that belief, and do you feel that belief is there being in camp this week?
Yeah, I think we're a close group. We're a group that enjoys being together, that has one another's back, and I think we see that in the performances, and it's something now that we have to try our best just to tidy up in a few areas, because of course the biggest thing in international football is to get the results, and in these last few games we haven't managed to do that, and that's the big challenge for us, and it's how do we find a way to make the difference and find a way to get a win. So it would be fantastic if we can do that tomorrow night.
Is it one of those nights where you need to get sort of everything right all over the park?
Probably, which of course will be difficult. I think they've got a really good team, a lot of depth, a lot of different players. So there's going to be a lot of challenges and a lot of different things that we're going to have to make sure we're ready for and be up to. And that's where I think the collective group comes in. Everyone that gets the opportunity to be on the grass, but also everyone over the last 10 days, everyone over the last few months that's put in an enormous contribution to keep trying to make us better. It's about moments. When it comes to the game tomorrow, we have to show that.
Rachel, on Friday there was mass disappointment, and understandably so. Has this been the ideal game to get the girls back together and to end this on a high?
It will be. We need to make it that. We want to end the year with a win, and we get one more chance today to work on a few final things, but then it'll be about maximising our preparation into tomorrow and just going into the game, I think, feeling good. I think that's one thing that, you know, we have to really ensure we do. We have to make sure we get one another up for the game, and I think when we do that, we've got huge quality, and I think we can challenge them as well.
What's been the mass learning from this Nations League experience? Obviously, coming up against top sides that, you know, over the years maybe not been able to have that consistency against the top sides unless at a major tournament.
I think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways. You know, in my career playing with the national team, it's rare you get the opportunity to play the top nations in competitive games outside of major tournaments, really. And now with the Nations League, that's what we've got. We got to be in pot A, which is the pot we want to be in. Unfortunately, you know, we're not going to stay there, but the aim will be to get back there as soon as possible. But having the chance to consistently play against the top nations, I think, is a huge learning curve for us. And ultimately, it's been small margins, and I think that is the lesson. And I think, obviously, you know, when you look at Belgium, who I feel in the group were the team that we competed with and did really well against, but when you see the results they've managed to obtain, that's something that we need to look at and say that we need to sharpen things up and find a way to do that.
I know this is a very forward-thinking group. Is the ambition and the aim already on getting back to League A because of the benefits that have already been reaped?
I think naturally when you're competitive, that's where you want to be. I think ultimately, you know, the process now is to qualify for the Euros. And, you know, we'll look forward to understanding how, you know, the next opposition that we'll face and how we can do that. That's where we need to be. It's where we want to be. That's what we're striving for. And, yeah, that's ultimately the next goal. You mentioned, I'm not going to go into Team GB, you mentioned the disrespect that you feel, perhaps that's coming from out with towards the group. Is that the incentive? Do you sort of like plaster that on the wall to almost shove it back to these sort of people that say that disrespect? No, I think, you know, it's a question that I understand why it is being asked. I think for us, the motivation is playing for your country. I think it's difficult to understand what that's like if you've never experienced it. And, you know, when you have experienced it, you don't need the extra motivation. It's absolutely the pinnacle of the sport to represent your nation. So that will be absolutely the motivation tomorrow, to be pulling on the Scotland jersey.
Sorry to go back to the Team GB situation, but is there a frustration among the Scotland camp? This is the scenario you find yourselves in, whereas if you do win, you are kind of punishing the opportunity to play at the Olympics?
I think the format's something that as players you don't really have any input or say on. It's a really unique situation, and yes, it's difficult.
And just finally, how determined is the squad to kind of end the campaign on a high, and against England's biggest rivals? That must just be a great opportunity to finish this campaign on a high. Yeah,
a home game against England. The incentive to get a result, I think, will be enormous, and that's the plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel, hi, sorry. Could I just ask you about Sandy McKeever and ask you how well you think she's settled in to the group since she's joined, and how you think she's playing?
Really well. I actually spoke to Sandy before. I think she'd made the decision, but she was in the process of going through the logistics of that. And, you know, one of the things I said was that the group of players is very welcoming, and we all got on with each other, and that's a big part of being involved in this environment. It's a big part of the culture that we have and that we believe is part of the success we've had in the past. And I think she's felt that. She's commented on it, and you know, I think she's obviously a top player, and I think for us to have more depth in every area is really important.
Has she been able to offer any snippets of inside info from her time with England?
Not yet, but maybe tonight's team meeting we'll see if she's got any useful insight.
Thank you and good luck.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.